Here we are. Hi, we're live. And I am Leslie.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we are the Hand Readers Guild. And we're here today with another episode of our little live stream to talk to you about the Simian Crease. Simian Crease. This is a fun topic. Fun.
Yes.
So what is the Simian Crease? Let's get right to it. Oh, actually, before we get to it, I just want to say that if you're enjoying our videos here, and I think we're on episode 4, so there's going to be a lot more of them. We're kind of just starting out here, so we're hoping that if you find even one of them kind of interesting, that you stick with us, because we're going to be doing this every week, and that you like our stream, and that you follow us, you subscribe on YouTube, you come join us in our group on Facebook, right there, the Hand Readers Guild Forum, that you just keep an eye out for us and spread the word, because we are here to teach you some really good stuff about hands. So with that, we're going to get back to our subject, which is the Simian Crease. So let's talk hands. So what we've got here today is we're going to talk about what happens with hands and headlines. Let's go full screen here for a minute. So what we've got here is upper, and the hand on the left is what a normal hand looks like. When you kind of hold your hand and look at it, what you get is 2 horizontal creases going across your hand. These are your headline and your heart line. The heart line is the one right under your fingers. The headline is the one that goes across the middle of your hand. Every once in a while, I do, and Stephanie does, and maybe you have one of these in your hands, a hand where there's just a single crease going across the hand. And the way you can kind of tell about that is you kind of just fold your hand ever so gently and just kind of fold it up. Fold it. You can kind of see I've got 2 creases there. And so what you've got here with the Simian Crease is the single fold. And the reason it's called the Simian Crease is it looks like a monkey's hand. Here are some hands of actual simians. These are, I love the one on the left. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but boy, does he have some amazing ridge patterns in his palm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that was called a snow monkey when I was looking it up. And the other one is some kind of ape. So you can see they have a single crease that goes across the hand, and that is what this line was named after. Now, does that mean that you are like a monkey? No. If you have this, no. It has nothing to do with being like a monkey. What this is, oh, we got a little typo there. This is a hand with the Simian Crease. Don't mind my typo. I was making my slideshow late at night. So this is what a handprint of one of my clients who has the Simian Crease. This is a very nice example of the Simian Crease.
Very straight.
Very straight, very clear. There's no mistaking what's going on here.
Correct.
So let's talk about what it means if you have this in your hand. When you think about the difference between the 2 hands, one was it's basically a merging of the head and the heart line. So the headline is your thinking function, and the heart line is your feeling function. So when the 2 of them are rolled up into one, it becomes a person with this line would have a difficulty figuring out if thoughts are feelings and feelings are thoughts. You're nodding your head there, Steph.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
This is the best example right here. So it's like walking a tightrope. Do I feel it or do I think it? And which one do I act on it? And deciding which will be what you go with in life or in that moment it's very difficult.
Right.
It can be very difficult. It can be very easy. Like this person has the straightest one. And the fastest way to get to point A to point B is a straight line. So,
right. Right. So the person who has this can deal in extremes.
yeah.
It's either or. It's like I either love it or hate it. I either want to put all my focus in this or none of it.
Boy, sometimes that could be so useful. I could use that in my daily life regularly.
Right. Sometimes it can be really useful.
I like it or I don't like it.
Other times it could mean that other things in your life just don't exist.
There's no gray. It's
no
either
gray.
black or white. Yep. So yes
so
or no. No maybes.
And that focus can be they might focus on one thing for quite a while and then jump to another, or focus on something for a very short time and then jump to another. So they feel like they're never, ever spending any time on any one thing in their life. Let's look at more examples.
But they can get deeply focused on one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the plus side of this? Because in the system that we work with, this is considered a mark of giftedness. So we talked a little bit about gift markings in our last episode when we talked about stars in the hands. What is a gift marking? A gift marking literally is a mark of something that you have especially, you are very, very talented in, that you don't have to work at, that you're a natural at, that you are here to share with the world, because a gift by definition must be given. So if you have a gift marking in your hand, it's as if you've signed an unconscious contract with the universe that says, yes, I will share this. So what is the gift of the Simian Crease? Intense creative genius. There's a way of thinking and processing information that is so different from the average person that there's this kind of genius way to have aha moments, to work out problems, to see solutions. Well, how else would you say that manifests?
I think you did a great job. I'm trying to think of other ways.
There's just this way of...
There's so many things.
Right. There's just this way of viewing the world where you process the information and it comes out different than the way anybody else might process it. Also, people with the Simian Crease tend to be intensely thoughtful. That's another piece of the intensity.
Yes.
They're intensely thoughtful. They don't want to hurt people's feelings. They don't want to get into conflict. Now, that can be a plus or a minus.
Right, because sometimes they may not know if they are actually hurting anybody's feelings.
Right. Right. Here's
because
another.
They're very thoughtful. It's all thought process.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's another Simian Crease. This one has a little line kind of mirroring it above. That is not a heart line. What that is called a girdle of Venus. And that's a line of sensitivity. So this hand in particular mirrors the sensitivity that comes with having a Simian Crease. And here's yet another one. So now let's go back to the idea of gift markings. The nature of a gift marking is that you must give it. It's not optional. You have to share it with the world. Now, if you're already kind of feeling like you're a little bit different because you think differently, and this might be a little bit of a problem. So what happens if you're holding back because you aren't sure if what you have to say will cause a conflict with someone? What's that?
Causing a ruckus.
Yeah. So actually what we talk about in the system we use for hand reading is that each of these gifts comes with a penalty. Now, I don't like the word penalty. That's the word that our system uses and that we were given by our teacher. Essentially what I like to think of it is that the universe wants you to really use this gift. So if you are not using it, what happens is you kind of feel stuck, you feel stagnant, things don't work right, your life might not be working right at all, but you don't realize that the way to get going again is to use the gift. So I like to think of it as the universe giving you a little nudge on the shoulder going, hey, you don't like the way your life is right now? Get back to using your gift. So the thing that happens specific, each gift has a specific way in which your life kind of turns upside down when you're not sharing your gift. For the Simian Crease, the way your life will go upside down is that you constantly run into misunderstandings, difficulty communicating.
Yes. And it's not that you're not saying exactly what you want to say. It's that other people may not be able to interpret what you're saying.
Right.
So,
and part of that might be because you're processing feelings through your head.
Yes.
And some of it might be because you're so intense that you just want to get it out really like in a loud way, or that you're so excited about something and other people don't like get it. Or they might feel a little like unnerved because of your enthusiasm.
A little overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I don't have a Simian Crease, but I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
I understand this a lot.
Me too.
And I'll tell you, as hand readers, I think what happens is we get a lot of people who come to us who have similar kinds of issues in their lives as the ones we're dealing with. And so just a little kind of step back on the Simian Crease and the history of the Simian Crease. The Simian Crease is actually a rare marking. It in the general population, it's about 2% of the people walking around on the planet have a Simian Crease in their hands. Statistics,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. That's a very small amount.
Yes.
And before we had all of the kind of tests and medical breakthroughs that we have now, it was, if a baby was born with a Simian Crease, and before we knew how to do all this stuff in utero and look at all the possibilities of what's going on inside, when a baby was born with a Simian Crease, they would immediately check for genetic problems. Down syndrome's one. There are other genetic problems that come along with that show up when someone's born with a Simian Crease. So when I talk about that 2% of the population, we're talking about people who have no genetic abnormalities associated with their Simian Crease. We're talking about people who have normal brain functions, normal everything else, except for maybe that enthusiasm and the personality and the way they are kind of doing their information processing. Mm-hmm. But in general terms, I'm talking about healthy, normal adults that did not come in with a genetic issue associated with the line. So, okay, I want to just step back there because I realized when I said healthy, that might sound kind of judgmental. So what I meant was just ones who have no genetic connection to anything that is showing up. I'm blabbering now. So essentially, we see this more in men than women, just statistically. And it actually shows up in a higher percentage in Asian populations. So these are just statistics that I pulled from a medical website talking about who has the Simian Crease. Now, my point I was trying to make is that in my collection of handprints of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people I've read for, I have higher than 2% with the Simian Crease.
That's why I was like, 2%?
Yes.
Did they all come see us?
There was a period there where apparently everybody in Portland who had a Simian Crease heard about me. And next thing I would know, they go, yeah, my friend told me I should come see you because I have this line. And it kept happening over and over and over and over. And I know people who would see that in other people's hands and go, oh, you need to go see Leslie. So, so that could be part of it. But it also could be because there is some of that intensity and creativity that we share with the people who have this, even though we don't have these lines. So I just want to talk a little bit more. It's actually not that common for people to have it in both hands, but it happens. And
Yes.
here are the handprints of somebody who has it in both hands. One of my clients. And now there's something else I want to point out. This is a simian crease that has a headline remnant. Most of the examples that I've shown you so far are pretty clearly just a simian crease. But we can have simian creases that are broken, that are fuzzy, that have bubbles and lines on them, that have stuff dangling off them, just like with any other line in the hand. This hand happens to have a headline remnant floating below. And that is not uncommon. This one doesn't happen to be connected. Some of them are. This hand has a heartline remnant floating above the simian crease. Also, not uncommon. So if you see that, or if you have this in your hands, that doesn't mean that you don't have the simian crease. But for instance, if you have a heartline remnant, you might be a little more emotionally focused with your processing than a pure simian single crease only. If you have the headline remnant, and the bigger the remnant, the more I like to say you have a tendency towards one extreme or the other, you might be more about being all in the head, thinking till you can't go to sleep at night because you're thinking so hard.
Yes, I would say this particular person has a lot of thinking and questioning of and questions, lots of questions and a lot of thinking. Yeah. So answer one question, it just brings 5 more questions into the mix.
Right.
I relate to that quite well.
Right. Okay. So here we go again. There's the feeling one. And you can see this person just has more lines in general than the person who had the headline remnant. So
one thing about the remnants is that maybe they have had so many experiences that they had to create this particular part of their hand, like the heart line. Somebody's told this person, you need to feel more or something. And then they've started to change their personality a little bit and add a little feeling to it, or, self-work.
Right. And the reason we mention that is that just want to talk about the fact that your hands, the lines in your hands can continually change, because these are a reflection of how your brain is wired. And we have brain plasticity, which means that we are constantly rewiring our brains when we change our habits, our thought patterns, or have new experiences. And that gets reflected in our hands. So yes, it is possible that this person did not have this heartline remnant all their life. Okay, so there are a lot of famous people who have the simian crease in their hands. Meghan Markle. If you see how she's got her hand, that royal wave is actually perfect for seeing the simian crease, because her hand is kind of like scrunched up all straight, and just a little bit of a fold to her hand, just a little, and you can see that simian crease very clearly.
It's as if she was posing for this particular moment.
Right. Wouldn't you say she's had a lot of public misunderstanding?
Yes, definitely.
She really fits the profile of the person with the simian crease.
And also feeling like an outcast or not belonging.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
It's right there.
Right there.
And then we've got former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, who this picture shows perfectly that he has it in both hands.
Look at that.
Both hands. And he is a very expressive talker. When he was Prime Minister, I was constantly looking at images of him and videos of him because I really wanted to study his hands. He's always using his hands to when he's giving speeches. As you can see here, he's at the podium, and very, very easy to see both of those simian creases. And I read that at one point he really wanted to become a rock star, and he focused all his energy on that. And then he decided that was not really what he wanted to do, and he got focused on politics.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So other famous people who have a simian crease. Tony Robbins, the famous self-help guru. Now, that kind of makes sense. He's very intense.
Mm-hmm.
He's very intense. Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro. Can you see that?
He's very intense too.
He's very intense. Yeah. Former California Senator Barbara Boxer. She has simian crease. And maybe perhaps one of the most famous people with a simian crease, feeling misunderstood, Hillary Clinton.
A bit.
Yeah. And when she was running for president the first time against Barack Obama, I had a blog called Karmic Knowledge, which doesn't exist anymore. But if you are on the Wayback Machine, all my blog posts are up on the Wayback Machine. And I happened to find an incredible photo of her on Flickr, taken by someone who was at one of her rallies, really high res, where she was just waving, walking into the room with her, I'm too close to the camera, with her hand out waving flat. And I mean, it was super high res. The hand was first and foremost, and it was the hand with the simian crease.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote to this person and asked if I could use his photo to analyze her hands. And he was like, have at it.
Nice.
And I have actually since then found my image, his image, in Google searches. If you type in Hillary Clinton simian, people have used my image.
That was her right hand, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. So it's out there. If somebody wants to go and find my old blog post, or maybe I can put the link to it in a comment somewhere, because it was interesting to look at her campaign through the lens of having a simian crease.
Right.
Okay, so the last thing I want to look at before we sign off is something that's not a simian. This is a hand with a full headline and a full heart line, and it has this connecting line between the head and the heart. That if the person folded their hands the way we said, would almost make it look like a simian crease. Thank you. You're just better at getting your hand in front of the camera than I am. I've always been directionally challenged.
I figured it out a couple of things ago.
Episodes ago,
yeah.
So this is a hand that has a connecting line between the head and the heart. And I cannot remember. Does it have a name, Stephanie?
It is. It's the board of directors is what it's called.
Right.
Everybody has to have an opinion, and everybody has to decide on what's going to be good in order to make a decision.
In other words, you've got your head and your heart to weigh in equally. So it has a little bit of the flavor of the simian crease, but it is certainly missing that intensity and the tendency towards feeling misunderstood quite a bit. So it's not quite the same.
Right. I think it manifests more wherever that line is meeting the other line, the two lines together where they meet, wherever they are in the hand, it might make a little difference in that passion or the drive. So like this one's under the middle finger. So more of a drive of responsibility or money or something to that effect.
Business.
Or business.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Their work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I am also an owner of
board of
directors. Yes.
Okay.
But once the decision is made, gavel down, it's done.
All right.
The best part about it. The other part is there's a lot of static. You could get a lot of, but what about this? But what about this? And then you just kind of have to shut it down and say, we're making a decision, vote. Yay or nay?
Well, that's really good that you were able to speak so clearly about this. And that could also be why you see a lot of Simian Crease clients.
Yes, very possible.
Because you have some flavor of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of Simian Crease clients because I have 4 planets in Scorpio, which brings in the intensity.
Yep.
So, there's just that sort of attraction of, here, this person will understand me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to say goodbye to the Simian Crease hands. And we're going to ask you to forgive us for our live stream kind of babbles and fumbles. But we're having fun doing this, and we hope you're having fun watching with us. And if you have any questions about the Simian Crease, you can put them in comments, and we'll be happy to answer them. And again, think about joining us in our Facebook group, the Hand Readers Guild Forum. There is a lot of information. We have a lot of diagrams and explanations about things you might have in your hands. And we are going to be doing this again next week. So we hope you'll subscribe to our channel and laugh along with us as we kind of make our mistakes going live. We're not editing these.
Have our dogs barking in the back. It's life.
Well, it's life. It's life. Yeah. Oh, I'm cute.
It's squirrels. The squirrels are on cue, just like that.
All right. So we'll say goodbye for now. And like I said, if you have any questions about the Simian Crease, let us know. Join us on Facebook or here on YouTube, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.